A good friend of mine asked me this morning to give him some tips on efficiency. For me, efficiency comes down to knowing exactly what needs to get done and what the expectation is for when it needs to be done. That is a drastic oversimplification of all of the components that are truly needed for one to be really efficient, in my opinion. But that's the basis of it. For me, I have a certain philosophy, and that philosophy is if my employer is only going to pay me for 8 hours, then I'm only giving them 8 hours. I don't fall into that trap of thinking that it's some type of a privilege or honor that I'm paid a salary and that I should devote all of myself to earning that salary. No, that salary is based on a 40-hour work week, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. That's what you're paying me for. That's what I'm giving you. That's the contract. I look at employment as contracts. So if you're only paying me for 8 hours, I'm only giving you 8 hours. Now, I'm going to work my ass off in those 8 hours. I'm going to give you everything I got in those 8 hours, but I'm only giving you 8 hours. You pay me overtime, different conversation. But if you're not giving me overtime, I'm only giving you those 8 hours. So ultimately, the 8 hours is my deadline. Whatever needs to get done throughout the day is going to get done or needs to get done within 8 hours. That's my first thing for efficiency. After I realize how much time I have, because ultimately that's the expectation of when it needs to get done by the end of the day. Once I understand how much time I have, and if there's no other or additional time stipulations on it, such as I need this by 2 o'clock, I need this by 11 o'clock, we have a meeting at 10, you need to be prepared for it by then. If there's no other stipulations on it, I plan my day with the to-do list. Regardless, even if there are stipulations on it, I plan my day with a to-do list. So if there's something that needs to be done by a specific time, I tend to put those things higher on that to-do list. More on that in a minute when I talk about prioritization. But if there's things that need to be done by a certain time within the day, I tend to put those things higher on the to-do list. But my to-do list, I write every single thing that needs to get done. If it's 5 tasks, if it's 10 tasks, if it's 20 tasks, I'm writing all of those tasks on the to-do list. Why? Because number one, that keeps me organized. Number two, it helps to make sure that nothing is forgotten, nothing slips through the cracks. If I'm assessing the day, then everything that I've seen as the day begins, I'm putting on that to-do list. The to-do list is also fluid. There's some things that may need to be added to the to-do list throughout the day. There's some things that may need to be subtracted on the to-do list throughout the day. But I start the day with a to-do list. Once I have my to-do list written, it's a simple math thing for me. So for example, if let's say for instance, I've got 8 things to do in an 8-hour day, then that means I'm doing 1 thing per hour. No, I'm not factoring in lunch. If anybody wants to start talking that nonsense, I'm just giving simple math. If I've got 8 things to do, then I've got an hour to do each of those things. That's the simple math that I do. So now I know how much time I literally have to take to do each and everything. But in separating that time, I'm also well aware of how long it takes me to do certain tasks. One task may take me longer than an hour to do. Another task may take me way less than an hour to do. So I'm looking at that and organizing my to-do list according to that, and then also according to priority, which I mentioned before. How long is it going to take me to do these tasks, and which of these tasks is more important than the other? When you're looking at a to-do list, I kind of also look at it like there's something on this list that's probably not going to get done. I tend to write very ambitious to-do lists. So if I come at it with a perfectionist type of attitude, I'm going to drive myself crazy, and I have. So I can't come at it with that perfectionist type of attitude. I have to, these are the things that I want to accomplish, but if I can't accomplish everything, let's organize this list to the things that, won't cause too much of an impact if they're not accomplished. So something that's arbitrary, like filling up the pencils. Okay, yes, it will be nice if the pencils were refilled at the end of the day, but if I don't refill the pencils, no one's going to lose their job, no one's going to lose their life. However, if it's, submitting payroll, that's something that's crucial. That's something that's going to stop people from getting paid. It can cause people to, not be able to pay bills or not be able to buy food or childcare. So that's something that needs to get done regardless throughout the day. I have to submit the payroll if it's my day to submit it. So I'm organizing my day according to that. These are the things that absolutely have to get done. These are the things that I'd like to get them done today, but if not, I'm okay. And then again, I put the time on it. How long is it actually going to take me to do payroll? I got 100 employees. Payroll is going to take me, at least 2 hours to do. Okay, so if payroll is going to take me 2 hours to do, then which 2 hours of the day am I going to use to get that done? Am I going to use the first 2 hours of the day, and then that puts me on kind of crunch time to get the rest of the things done throughout the end of the day? Or do I want to hurry up and speed through the rest of the things that I have on my to-do list if I can? And then I have the remaining chunk of the day to get payroll done. So as I started off saying it's about knowing everything that needs to get done and when it's expected to get done. If I know payroll can be successfully submitted by 5 o'clock at the end of the day, then I know I can organize my day accordingly. If I know payroll has to be done by noon that day in order for it to go out, then I have to organize my day accordingly. So knowing what needs to get done and when it needs to get done are crucial things in order to maintain or to create a level of efficiency with what it is that you do. Once I know what's going on, like I said, I put my to-do list together according to that. This is going to take me longer, but this needs to get done sooner. So I'm going to put that, number 1, 2, or 3. This is not going to take me that long, and it's not that crucial to get done. I can put that at 8, 9, or 10, depending on how many things that I have to do today. I can push it, as far as that is concerned. Once I have my to-do list written, then pretty much after that, it's execution. It's okay, I know what I need to do. This is the task that's in front of me. Let's start knocking it off. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. I have a note-taking system so that if it's done, if the task is 100% complete, I'll put a certain mark next to it. If the task is not complete because I got hindered by, something, or I didn't have a piece of information that I needed, then I put a different mark next to it so I know I have to come back to that either at a later time or on the next day. If there's something that, was additional to the task that I didn't know, or, a follow-up that I need to complete, I'll make that notation next to the task so that when I'm referring back to the to-do list, I'll know exactly what happened. I didn't say this, but this is very important. I also put dates on my to-do list. So I'll know, and anybody else will know. If I'm reporting to a supervisor, what did you do yesterday? Here's everything I did yesterday. What did you do the day before that? Here's everything I did the day before that. And I can go back for as long as I have notes for. So, hey, on July 23rd of 2024, somebody said that they came in and they talked to you about X, Y, and Z. Well, let me flip back. Let me flip back, flip. Oh, yes, this was July 24th. I have a notation here. This person did come in, but the only thing that we discussed was this, and this. Like, my to-do list is a very fluid document. I make sure I'm using it. I'm referring back to it, throughout the day. I'm also referring back to it on days that have passed, just to make sure, this is what I've done, so I can keep myself organized, and no one can come back and say, oh, well, you didn't do this or you did do that. I know exactly what I did and didn't do because I was the one that was taking it down, and I was the one notating it. Certain things you can't necessarily factor for. For example, if you have to train someone. If you have to train someone, you have no idea how quickly or how slowly they'll grasp the information. So those I kind of block out a certain amount of time for. I still have a certain amount of time for myself because I know how I teach and I know how, efficiently I can move through subject matter. So let's say I'll block out an hour. That person may take more than an hour. That person may take less than an hour. If it's less than an hour, it's a godsend. Thank God. You're quick with it. You're picking this up, much faster than anticipated. We may be able to now take on more tasks, or I may be able to train you on more things than I originally had planned to do. if that person is slower. It's fine, it's okay. But now I know, looking at my watch, we got about 15 minutes left in this training session. I've still got other tasks that I need to follow up on. I'm going to schedule a follow-up training session with you on such and such a date at such and such a time, so we can make sure that we get this done. Like I said, it's a fluid document. It's a fluid thing that I'm using day in and day out to make sure I'm mapping out my day. And again, I make notations. Hey, such and such employee or employee A was very quick in picking up the task that was necessary. We moved on to training on this, and this. Employee B wasn't as quick as employee A, or wasn't as quick in picking up the task. So I'm rescheduling a time for tomorrow at 3 p.m. to finish up the training and to review to make sure that the training stuff. Whatever it is, I'm using that to-do list. Like, that's my Bible. That's the thing that I'm really referring to and going off of every day, all day, just to make sure that I'm efficient. Refer back to it multiple times a day. I'm not going to say at least twice or at least 5 times. Refer back to it as many times as necessary. You can never refer back to your to-do list too much, because you're checking things off of it as you're accomplishing them. You're adding things to it if different things pop up throughout the day, and you're reminding yourself of things that need to get done. Oh, damn, I forgot that I had to do X, Y, and Z today. Here we go. It's on the to-do list. That way I can't forget it. I wrote it down first thing this morning. I remembered it. Now I can't forget it. Let me make sure that I get this done. I find that to be the most efficient way to do things. It does involve a lot of self-knowledge and self-awareness. How long does it take me to complete a certain task? How long does it take me to train a person? How long does it take me to get in the morning and get set and get ready to go? What happens if I get interrupted, throughout the day doing a certain thing? Do I get into a vibe and a flow, and then I can just knock everything out, one after the other? Or if I get interrupted, does it take me a long time to restart and regain that flow? You have to be very self-aware in order to use this method. The other thing that I would also say is factor in the bullshit. What's the bullshit? Somebody's probably going to come in and interrupt you for something. Depending on the environment that you work in, that's going to happen. That you're going to, maybe slow down after 3 o'clock, after you have lunch. It's just going to be one of them things where it's like, I don't feel like doing anything. That your friend, your coworker is going to come in and start telling you about their weekend, or have a point in time where they're going to need your advice about something that has nothing to do with work. Factor in the bullshit, because if you factor in the bullshit, then it doesn't disrupt your day as much as it would if it was unexpected. Am I saying necessarily to write it on the to-do list? Not necessarily, but keep it in mind when you're writing your to-do list. Like, okay, I'm trying to do 25 things today. Let's be realistic. I'm not going to get 25 things done today. I will probably get 20 things done today. So, out of those 25 things that I wanted to get done today, which of these things aren't even going to make it on the list? Because that's going to be the time that, I may take a little extra longer with lunch. I may have to counsel one of my coworkers on some things that they need assistance with that I wasn't factoring in for the day. Make sure you're factoring in the bullshit. If you don't want to refer to it as the bullshit, factor in some you time, because going hard all day, every day, it takes its toll. So sometimes you might need a breather. Sometimes you might need a 15-minute break. Sometimes you might need an hour break. Sometimes you're just going to have to assess what needs to get done for the day. So you can put your pen down, you can put the computer down, you can lean back and you can say, whew, got it done. Or whew, need to take a break. Factor those things in. Like I said, be very realistic when you're writing your to-do list. Don't write it for anybody else, write it for you. It's your to-do list. So as long as you're being honest with it, it will help you throughout the day. If you're writing it for somebody else, if you're trying to impress somebody else based on how many tasks you're writing down, the to-do list method will not be efficient for you, and your efficiency will immediately start breaking down. So make sure you're being honest with your to-do list. Put honest things on it so that you can accomplish what you need to accomplish, and things should work out for you. Your efficiency should pick up.